Thank you for staying with us and welcome back. With us today is Margaret Njoki, and she narrates to us the story of how her child just got sick out of nowhere. She's now released from hospital and the baby is not fine still.
Yeah, she's not fine. Actually, when we've been discharged, my sister told me, Aki, we are going home, but the child is still sick because she was still vomiting. Mm-hmm. When she eats something, she just throw up. Yeah.
All right. Then now what happens next?
So we arrive home. We stay for one day. The second day, we realize that she's not good. So we rush back to, no, not Grunanak this time, we go to Kenyatta. It was around, we arrived there at around 2 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, on arrival, I was admitted, but the doctors realized that she had yellowing, of which me, I didn't even realize. They told me, you've been living with a child with yellow, mama, and you've not realized. Me, she used to be so brown, so me, I thought that it's just the color.
So yellow in this case?
Jaundice. I think it's jaundice because of the medication. She was taking a lot of medication. I think around 12 per day.
12 tablets?
13, yeah.
Per day?
Yeah, plus injections.
This is a year-old baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So on arrival, I am admitted. Now the condition is in Kenyatta, you can imagine now from a private to a public. Yeah. You have to share a bed. And she had to be put on tubes again. So on arriving at 2 a.m. till the next day around 5, that is when she was put those tubes.
5 in the evening? In the
evening the next day. So I was asking the nurse, can you come and put for me tubes, because she still has some medication to take and she has not eaten anything.
So the tubes were supposed to
for feeding? For feeding, yeah. Mm-hmm. So she tells me, you're not going to show me my job. So I told God from that day, I will not depend on any medic. I will not. Because I thought maybe my hope was in the medics, but now they are turning me down. So I told God, God, you will not see me going back. Telling them, Siju, I need tubes. Siju, my child is teaching. I will not do that. So when I arrived, I used to hear there are those spirits of death. So it's me to cast them. So I sprinkled that bed with the blood of Jesus and I rebuked the spirit of death. Because I could just feel, your instincts are never wrong. So I could feel something could be wrong, something could get wrong. So me, I started speaking. I spoke life, and I told God, I don't want to see any other child die when I'm in this ward. So I came to learn that later, 12 kids had died.
In the same ward?
Yeah, before I arrived. So my instincts were never wrong. So I anointed the bed and I told God, you're a God of life. I want to see life. So the situation in Kenyatta was not as in Grunanak. I used to feed the child alone with those tubes. Me, I've never done it. I've never even seen it. I've never experienced somebody with tubes. I experienced with her. So I had to dilute those maziwas, my uji, and those fluids. She used to feed on fluids. If it's food, you have to dilute it kabisa mpaka ikue maji, so that it will be able to penetrate those feeding tubes. You mess with the tube, you mess with the whole system, because it's connected to the nose, through the nose to the stomach. So you clog with food, inaenda ina block tumbo, anatolewa. And I believe you me, it's not a nice experience kutolewa hizo tubes. You're being put those tubes through the nose now to the stomach. It was rough because you could see even traces of blood.
All right, then.
Now, I used to feed. At times my aunt used to come, help me feed. I used to shout at her because now she's not a nurse. I'm desperate. I also don't know how to feed with the tubes. And I want her to feed her.
When you sense that she's doing something wrong, you would shout at her.
Yes, feed her well. She doesn't know. So it was rough. Yes.
So your child had to depend basically
on tubes.
On tubes.
Yeah.
What had happened to, breastfeeding and all this kind of care that a child needs to go through at such an early age?
I told you she could not even swallow her own saliva. The saliva was just pouring out, so she could not eat anything through the mouth. So we had to feed her through the tubes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So then for how long were you at Kenyatta now this time?
At Kenyatta it was about 2 weeks. 2 weeks I saw kids dying. Actually, when I arrived there was a child who died. The mother was sleeping, but she didn't know that the child was dead. So when she woke up and realized that the child was dead, it was horror. She was screaming, and the experience was bad. I could not imagine now my child is the worstest in that ward, because everyone used to look at her. Tukiamka asubuhi wanaangalia if Blessing is still there. Tukienda kupimwa kilo, they used to stare. You could see weird stares because she's too skinny. You are just wondering how you're going to hold her. She cannot hold her neck, she cannot lift her hands, she cannot walk, she cannot open her eyes. She's just there. So they used to give her this weird gaze. Yes.
All right. And now after the 2 weeks, what was diagnosed? Was it?
Okay, they said due to the lesion that was seen at Grunanak, if the lesion is more than 22 millimeters, I think 22 millimeter in diameter, then she will call for an immediate brain surgery. So they took their own scan, but the process in Kenyatta, it took another 7 days before it is out and it is
signed, verified.
Verified. Yeah. So when their scan came out, during this period, I was telling God, nullify these things. Can you nullify this lesion? I know you have powers. You are telling me that I have life in my tongue. I can speak life. I can cancel things. So I was telling God, please God, nullify this lesion, because I cannot imagine a brain surgery at her age. So when the scan came, they could not see any lesion. They said there is no lesion here. So they nullified the issue of the surgery, but they said that she has a brain atrophy.
Which is?
Brain shrinkage. The brain is shrinking. Yes.
And what would that mean eventually?
Okay, it could mean that she can stay the way she is in her condition for the rest of her life. Yes, she might or might not recover. Yes, akuwe tu ni ule mtu unamweka kwa jua, anaota jua, you take her back to the house. Yes.
And all this time you're saying, God, no, it cannot
Actually,
be.
I didn't. I used to listen, and I used to know that what they will tell me will be negative. So I was very much prepared. So they tell me now, I used to ask them, will she get any better? Others will just keep quiet. Others will tell me yes. Others will tell me it's 50-50. Yes. Okay, before she was discharged, we had a prayer group, me and another woman in that same ward. That woman actually had stayed there for around 4 months. So we decided we have to do something. We have to pray. So we tengenezada a group of prayers. We used to pray. Actually, me, I didn't used to sleep for the whole of those period, but there was a time that I slept. I think it was for 1 hour because I was so tired. In Kenyatta, if you're a parent, you don't sleep in a bed, you sit. It's only kids who are allowed to sleep. So you can imagine, you have been here that woman was there for 4 months, sitting. Na mtoto analala. So I think it was rough. Me, I was there for 2 weeks and I was already tired. So we had that group. We prayed, and I later learned after I was discharged that she was also discharged. Hakukaa sana. So I was telling her we have to break this spirit of staying here, because the devil wants to keep us here. He wants to confine us so that we see that this is a story now. we integrate with those stories of sicknesses. We see like it's normal. So I told her, now we have to do something. If you don't want to keep on staying here, we have to pray. So we prayed, and believe you me, she was discharged after I was discharged.
Amen. Amen.
So I was discharged, and my child was still feeding on tubes.
So you went home with the child
Yes.
on tubes.
She was removed the tubes, and I was told to go home. So I was wondering, you have given me tablets. You know she cannot feed. The saliva is coming out. What do you mean?
So they said they discharged you because the child was better, or what was the explanation? That the child is fine
They have done their
now?
part.
They have done their part.
Yes.
So the rest is...
Therapy. They prescribed for me therapy.
So they had concluded that it's cerebral palsy, Ama?
Actually, when I was getting out, I think they concluded it is meningitis. Yes. So I went home. The child is still not feeding for 2 days. I was discharged on Friday, Saturday. So on Sunday, I told God, if this child is to die now, it's better he die on your own hands. So I took her to hospital, to church. It's here in Ruiru. And I told God, I'd rather camp here for 10 days than to stay with a sick child. So we are going to stay here.
All right. Okay. That's the faith of a desperate woman.
So
Just before you continue, let's go on a short break. Then when we come back, you will let us know how finally you came through the whole process and the healing of your child. Stay with us. We'll be right back.